Welcome to Totally Woman Podcast. Totally Woman is a bi-weekly podcast that uncovers essential health knowledge and highlights inspiring journeys that transforms women's lives. I'm your host, Rosemarie Crosdale, a licensed adult gerontology nurse practitioner, and this season we want to hear from you. Find us on Instagram at Totally Woman Pod to join our conversation. While we encourage you to listen to this podcast for health tips, it is not a substitute for a relationship with a primary care provider or clinic. Now let's get to today's episode. This is our last episode, guys. This is episode 9 of season 3. Unbelievable that we are here. It is December. I just want to say Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. I know Kwanzaa didn't start as yet. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. Seasons greetings, happy holidays. However way you celebrate Christmas, I just want to wish everyone a very happy holiday and, just welcome you. I cannot say thank you enough. I just want to thank my village. I want to thank my village of my Totally Woman ladies who have continued to just support and just rock with me. Throughout all the season, since we have begun till now, some of you have been faithful. Every episode you've tuned in, wherever you get your podcast from, supporting me. Women from all over this country. I am so amazed sometimes when I see the stats and where people are actually listening from. It's amazing to me. Not only here in the States, I must say thank you, to my following, whether you're in Brooklyn, whether you're in Queens or you're in Manhattan, all the boroughs, the Bronx, Connecticut. I have people from, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, all over this United States listening to me. People that I have in Canada, Toronto, all over, those who are listening. People from my home country in Jamaica, who are constantly listening to me. People in England, I have people in England all over this country who are listening to me. I'm trying to remember one of the countries, which was so amazing to me because I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know anybody was listening from there. But I just want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for your continued support. This means so much to me. This is an amazing journey that, the podcast is now in its 3rd season. And it's all because of your love and your support, your continued support. And just understand, ladies, that I do not take any of this for granted. So, as we are closing out this season and preparing to celebrate the holidays. I don't know how you guys celebrate, but, just from our last episode, we talk about grieving, we talk about just surviving through the holidays and how intense sometimes it can get and how overwhelming it can be. So as we close out this season and prepare for Christmas, I just want to remind you that this time of year doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of times we go out of our ways, we're spending money that sometimes we don't even have, right, ladies? Sometimes we are, and I understand that you want to make sure that your kids, especially your family, you want to make sure that they have gifts or whatever it is. If they have something in mind, you want to be able to, give it to them and let them feel good that they have a present to open up on Christmas Day. I understand that. But I don't want you to go crazy and put yourself in any unnecessary debt that now when the new year starts, you're going to be dealing with all of these burdens, right? Let us use that mindset where we're doing things where we are proactive. We're in that mindset where we are making sure that the monies that we are spending, we're actually monitoring our finances and making sure that we're stewarding our resources that we have effectively. All right. So, however, you're going to plan to celebrate this season, whether you're surrounded by your family, I know some of you will be working for the holidays, or just simply trying to find a moment of peace, right? I hope that this episode will just bring you some encouragement, and it's a gentle reminder that you matter, a gentle reminder that you matter. It is all about you. Without you, then, there's no one else without you, right? You are wonderfully made. You're made in the image of God, and you are here for a reason. You have a purpose. I know sometimes, like even right now, we're taking stock, we're counting down, we're saying, let me look at where I am. Some of you set goals and you're checking and you're looking to see what you have accomplished and some of the things that you have gotten done. But I just want to encourage you that even if you have not, your bucket list or certain things where, that you feel that you did not do, not to be hard on yourself, but to give yourself some grace and just to put it in perspective and moving on, just to see how now you're going to let those things that you need to do better. Look at the negative, make a list, right? What was positive? What was negative? What can you do to change certain things, right? So I understand that during this time, it's not going to be easy. Some of you, around the holidays, it can be instead of something where it's, you're happy or you're celebrating, a lot of you are still grieving, and I understand that. And speaking of grieving, on Sunday, the 14th, my mom's sister, Mrs. Doreen Headley, affectionately Auntie Joyce, my Auntie Joyce, she passed away in Florida on April 14th, which was on Sunday. And I just want to take a brief moment to just honor her. She was a very spunky lady, very loving. She loved to cook. She loved going to church. She loved God. She loved to dance. She loved her family. She loved her kids, her husband. And I just want to right now just say to my cousins, I want to say to Uncle Topi, her husband. I want to say to Lennox, to Marva, to Kay, to Carla, to Danny. I just want to say, and to Byron, I just want to say to all of them, and also to my mom and her sisters who are also going through this loss right now, and us as a family all together. I just want to just offer my condolences to everyone and just say rest in peace to my Auntie Joyce. So I just want to take this moment and just dedicate this part of the this part of the episode to her. So I'm just going to pause for a brief moment in honor of my Auntie Joyce, Mrs. Doreen Headley. May her soul rest in peace. So, ladies, Christmas reminds us that even in the midst of life's changes, hope is still present. Love surrounds us and light still shines. As women, sometimes we carry so much, right? But we are also deeply carried. This season, may you be filled with peace and renewal and quiet joy. So I just want to extend that out to all the ladies who are listening to me, right? That even though it's the holidays, and I know that you guys, some of you are struggling, some of you are going through so many different emotions, like I talk about, even those of you who are grieving, and so many different things are going on with their family. I know sometimes, people right now, there are people who are still without we talk about, like, even with the hurricane in Jamaica, there's still people without housing. There are people still right now, without any shelter, a place to sleep, different things like that that people are just going through. Women are going through with their children and their families. So if you're in a position this year to bless someone, just take it on yourself. I'm not saying that you can, that you have to go out of your way to do, something that is out of your reach, or if it, don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to be suffering in order to do something. But if it's just something, simple as, just helping your neighbor, and sometimes your neighbor is not necessarily the person who lives next door to you, but it's someone that you want to, do something special for, whether it's a child, if you want to buy, a toy or a gift for them. And, just something just to show them that you care, right? That we still care, that we still have a heart, a human heart. Because I know that, in spite of everything and in spite of how the world is looking now, sometimes it looks so, doom and gloom, like everything is just, people sometimes they just seem so heartless, but there's still people out there with kind hearts, and people out there still who are, in the spirit of giving and just helping each other. So if you find yourself in that situation, please, and if you can, help someone else who is in need, and offer your help to them if you can. But don't offer your help where it's going to be a burden to you. It should be something that comes with ease, with no issues that you're going to be suffering, or it's going to be detrimental to you where you're losing. So, like I said, as we celebrate this season, let us continue to carry love in our hearts, grace in our words, right? The words that we choose, how we speak to someone. Let us be kind. It says, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So the way that you talk to someone, just be cognizant of that. Talk to them with love and compassion. You know, let us show them compassion in the things that we do. Let us honor them in the way that, we would want to be also honored and treated. During this season, we were blessed also. I was so happy that we were able to have two guests that were on the podcast. On the podcast for this season, we had two very wonderful women who participated during this season, and I just want to say a very warm thank you to them. I want to say thank you to Jennifer Renard. She shared her story on her, finding out that she had kidney disease that led up to her perimenopause journey. That was one of the episodes that we did talk about, and she was a guest on that episode. And I just want to say thank you to her for gracing us with her presence, and for feeling the need to use this platform to share her story and to let other women know of the issues that can come about when someone has this kind of issue. And I also want to thank Dr. Patrice Powell, our nurse practitioner, who graced us with her presence, and who gave us a lot of insights when it came onto diabetes, and talking about diabetes and the different blood work and the different checks and different things. And she talked about medications and stuff like that. And I just want to thank Dr. Patrice for also being a part of this season. Thank you guys so much. I am really, really honored that you chose this platform, my platform, to be on my podcast to share with the other women. We definitely learned a lot from you guys, and we just want to say, I just want to extend my sincere thank you, and I just pray that you guys have a wonderful holiday as well. With that said, I just also want to continue to encourage the women, because remember, ladies, you still have to continue to prioritize your health. You still have to continue to take care of yourself, right? For some of you, the year is counting down, it's almost finished. And there's some of you who still haven't, maybe get your annual physical done, or different, your checkup, whatever checkup it is. Maybe you're missing your mammogram that you haven't done as yet. Maybe you haven't done your colonoscopy as yet. Maybe you haven't had your, your blood work check, like a panel where, you're trying to check your A1C level to see if you're diabetic or if you're pre-diabetes, your cardiovascular health, checking up to see if you have hypertension, different things like that. We just want to make sure that we continue, ladies, to prioritize our health and not to take it for granted, especially during the holidays. Sometimes we're just running. We're running from work. We're running here. We're trying to get everything sorted out, get the house settled, get this cleaned and get this done. And sometimes we really do forget about ourselves. But I just want to encourage you to make sure that you're prioritizing yourself and getting some of these things done if you haven't done so already, because without our health we are nothing. Also continue to move our bodies. I know, just walking, we talk about just walking, how important that is, and helping just walking probably about 15 to 20 minutes a day on a daily basis, how impactful that can be. And how even when you're in, the perimenopause and menopause stages, how, even doing a little strength training, some weightlifting and different things like that can really, really help us as we transition into the latter. Well, I wouldn't want to say the latter part, but as we navigate our way through, perimenopause and menopause, and I also want to encourage even the young girls, teaching the young girls. We talk about, with the mammograms, getting your self breast exams done, the age that you should be getting your pap smear done. I just want to encourage you. I know it's the holidays. Nobody want to be talking about these things, but ladies, we have to, because if we don't, then we neglect our health. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to right now make sure that is a gift to yourself. Yes, that is a gift to yourself. Do that gift for yourself where you are prioritizing yourself. And don't think about it as self care. Think about it as something that you have to do. Remember, when we talk about getting screened for different diseases, we want to screen you before you actually get the disease. And that's why the screening process is so, 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 so very important. I cannot stress that enough. So, ladies, let us not neglect our health. Let us not neglect our routine screenings that we should be having in place based on our ages and different things like that, for with each milestone that we should be getting done. So make sure that during this time, we are giving that to ourselves as a gift by prioritizing our health and taking care of ourselves. Taking care of yourself, that should be your gift to you so that you can continue to live healthy and to, that we can transition into the new year with our health in intact. That's where we're doing, where our health is optimal, or even if it's not fully optimal, but we're getting to that point where it is optimal and where we are making sure that we are, just doing the things that we should be doing. All right. So as we, all I can say, during this time is just to encourage you. I just really want to encourage you. I just really want to, just to piggyback off of even the last episode that we did in terms of, just making sure that you're at a good space. And a lot of times, sometimes what, we fail to, even just to ask for help, just to make sure that your mental health during this time as well, just to make sure that mentally you're doing okay, asking for help if you need help. We talk about if you have to talk to a therapist or something like that, don't be afraid to talk to a therapist. Don't be afraid also if you're with your doctor for a period of time or whoever you're with, and you feel that your questions are not being answered. Ladies, don't be afraid to seek out other doctors and to look for, you know, people who are going to really prioritize you and make you feel like you're being heard, right? That they're not just putting you off. Don't be afraid to speak up on your behalf. You are your own advocate, right? So I want you, ladies, to please advocate for yourself. And like I said, if you don't feel comfortable, then it's time to move on. You can always find yourself, look at reviews, find yourself a different doctor, check it out. If you feel like you're not being heard, that is your right. Because a lot of times what we know our bodies. We know our bodies. You know when something is not going on right with you. So if you present that to your doctor and they're just they're very nonchalant about it, or they just want to brush you off or something like that, and you do need to get answers, then get answers from another source, or get answers from another outlet. Do your research. Go onto Google, go through your insurance company, seek out other doctors who are working in that same area, and try to just get the information that you need. Don't settle. Don't, because you've been going to this person for 20 years and now you're feeling like, oh my God, I feel like, I'm stuck, or they're still not giving me the answers, or I'm not doing better, or, I feel like I'm getting worse. And, you just feel like, okay, then they feel comfortable because they know you for so long. If you feel that way, then you have the right to seek other options. Okay, you have other options. So don't get caught up into the cycle of just settling because you know this person or something, like, or you have that relationship with that person. If you're not getting the answers that you need, then it's time to move on. So I want you guys to really pay attention to that, and not to neglect yourself, and to trust your judgment, trust your instinct, trust your intuition, ladies. That's one thing we have. Our intuition is never wrong. And like I said, you know your bodies. You know when something is not right with you. So, don't brush off the way you feel. Sometimes when the pain is usually sometimes a late sign, right? Because sometimes we'll neglect certain things. We'll neglect the headache. We'll neglect the dizziness, or, maybe you just feel weak, or you're just feeling off, or something like that. So, and these are things that can affect your cardiovascular health. You could be having a stroke. There are different things that could be happening to you. So I want you ladies not to take these things for granted. So as we count down, like I said, for the holiday season, I just want to encourage everyone. I just want to encourage those of you who are grieving, if you do need help. And like I said, the grieving process, sometimes it takes time. It does take time. Sometimes, in the beginning, sometimes just right now is just dealing with the shock. We have to travel, to go to my aunt's funeral. And, even though you know that she's no longer here, sometimes, in the beginning, you haven't fully even processed what is going on. Sometimes it's not until you're actually at the funeral service, or maybe at the burial ground or something like that, where now that you see that this is, something that is final, and that sometimes, now you're dealing with whatever is going on. But at some point we have to, just make it be intentional about, if we do need help to guide us through our grieving process, that we are getting the help that we need. Okay. So I just want to encourage you ladies. I know it's hard. I know the holidays are hard. Sometimes it's not even just grieving a loss, but it could be grieving other things. I talk about grieving relationships, or grieving a loss of a child, or a loss of in terms of a miscarriage or something like that, the loss of a job, different things. You lost your friend. It's not like the friend passed away or anything, but that relationship that you had is no longer there. And sometimes just forgiving. Right. Sometimes we have to be the bigger person and, invite forgiveness too, because forgiveness is not necessarily for the other person. Forgiveness is for you, just for you to be able to, maintain and have your sanity. So sometimes we have to just let bygones be bygones and just forgive. So during this holiday season, I'm just asking you guys just to love on each other a little bit more. If you haven't spoken to your family, speak to your family, because Christmas means different things to different people. And the reason that you're celebrating. So for whatever reason that you're celebrating, or for whatever reason, the holiday season means to you, sometimes it's getting away to be with your family, different things like that. Whatever the holiday means to you, this is a time where we have hope, right? Around this time, we have hope. And during this Christmas season, or this holiday season, we just want to just celebrate that hope, right? Because we have that hope we have that hope in God. And that's how we, celebrate. People go to church, they do different things. They, you know, are with their family celebrating and stuff like that. So whatever you do, I just want to encourage you to just also have a heart of gratitude and be thankful, be thankful, be thankful, be thankful for life, be thankful that you're here. You're not in the hospital, right? You're alive, you're well, you're able to do things, on your own, right? So I just want to say thank you, Lord, for this season of love, hope, and new beginnings. I want to thank God for the women who are listening. I pray that He will strengthen you where you feel weary and comfort you where you need peace and remind you that you are never alone. That is my prayer for you and all the women who are, all my Totally Women listeners. That is my prayer for you. So as we celebrate Christmas, I pray that we will continue to carry love in our hearts, grace in our words, and compassion in our actions. Let us honor the lives that have shaped us, and we trust God with the days ahead. I pray that God will cover us with the peace of this Christmas, and that we will be guided gently into the coming new year, God's willing. So, like I always say, and I just want to finish as usual, right? The Totally Women motto is that we continue to motivate, we continue to uplift, and we continue to inspire each other. I just pray a season of blessing, a season of thanksgiving. And I pray that, whatever your heart's desire, that God will grant you the desires of your heart. And I just pray that, all of your wishes and everything that you are praying for during this holiday season will come true. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah from Totally Woman Podcast. Have a happy, happy holidays. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me on this season. Happy, happy holidays. Totally Women Podcast is hosted by Rosemarie Crosdale and powered by Indie Creative Podcasts.